morning. Welcome to Ascension Arcana Tarot. This is Christine with a romance reading. I'm pulling this a couple days late. It is Friday, December 27th today, but I'm getting back into it after the holidays here, and I'm happy to pull a reading for you guys. Apparently Temperance felt like showing. That's awesome. It's an energy of coming back into balance after the holidays, I think. Awesome. As always, this is a general collective reading, so please take what resonates and leave the rest behind. What do you want the folks in this collective to know for their romance journey today, God? I'm going to go one row at a time, I guess. Two of Cups and the King of Pentacles. Nice. All that says to me is coming into union with a very stable individual. So in the card, it's a masculine. It could be a masculine or feminine in real life, right? The gender is kind of irrelevant, but the King of Pentacles is prosperous. He's generous. He's stable. He's like an amazing partner to have. And I think I pointed this out in this card the other day. I don't know if I did, but he always reminds me a little bit of Santa Claus. He's like hippie Santa Claus in his like beanbag chair or whatever, but he just has the most jolly face. And I love this pentacle kind of balanced on his knee. Has like this magical quality of light around it. I just think that's so precious. It feels like appreciation of the material things that you have or the things that you have successfully manifested in terms of love, but also in terms of life. And I feel like I'm super drawn to the it's like a wolf dog laying next to him, just the feeling of safety, like that dog has that level of trust for him and is kind of just relaxing next to him. It feels like very safe. And this card, I mean, I love this card, especially in this deck with like the rainbows kind of coming out of their fingers. The rainbows always feel like dreams come true or wishes come true to me. So just that kind of coming together into like a stable partnership with a stable person that feels so lovely. This row is interesting. I feel like this is overcoming maybe some fears that you have around relationships or connections that you've had in the past. So this is interesting. The red threads in this Three of Swords card, it's reminding me of the, I think I've mentioned this before. I think it's like a Japanese legend where we are connected to our person by like an invisible red thread that sort of connects us across space and time, across lifetimes. So I'm feeling that this is almost like dysfunctional connections. It's not that one special connection like a twin flame, or maybe you conceptualize it as like a soulmate. These are connections from the past that have caused some heartbreak, that have caused sadness, that have caused like a loss of trust. So you might be, if you're in this collective, kind of coming into this like beautiful partnership. You might be sort of grappling with some of those difficulties or sadness or heartbreak from the past, just in terms of this whole row feels like breaking away from the patterns, the relationship patterns of the past, in order to let in this absolutely beautiful, stable, like sweet connection that's coming in with this King of Pentacles. The Three of Wands, I'm almost feeling it as like a Three of Wands reversed, where the Three of Wands is usually about like the horizon is wide open, right? Like those ships are coming into the harbor in the traditional tarot deck. It's like kind of reaping the rewards of the things that you've invested in. But I almost feel like a hesitation in my mind's eye, when I'm seeing this card in motion, it's like she's hesitating to take the next step. So I'm feeling the energy of that card almost like reversed, where in this connection with this King of Pentacles, I mean, this feels like the dream, right? You get this stable guy, he's happy, he's like a master manifester, he's trusted by children and animals, he's generous like Santa Claus, like it's like the best, like the best of the best aspects of the King of Pentacles. And that beautiful Two of Cups energy of coming into union with that. And this is what you're used to, is like heartbreak. And I think it's causing kind of some hesitation in terms of allowing those romantic horizons to kind of open up, right? And really like letting in this love and stability and like trusting that it's real. So take that as it resonates, right? And if you guys are in a connection where you're feeling like maybe that person is not very stable or is not being very kind, this is probably not your reading. I'm really feeling that there's like a great purity and innocence and just like deep love and kindness in this connection that's really incredible. So feeling like some hesitation about taking those next steps forward and just kind of grappling with that feeling of not being safe, right? The Four of Cups, remember how I said that about these rainbows here? That for me, that feels like wishes and dreams kind of come true. They're like pouring off of the fingers of this couple with their fingers intertwined. Well, that's exactly this. She has this rainbow here, and this is the card of apathy, of kind of like ignoring a gift from the universe. In the traditional tarot, it's like the hand of God reaching out from a cloud with this big cup full of love, right? And the person's kind of like ignoring it or not acknowledging it. So this feels like a massive blessing. Like this feels like the relationship coming in. If you haven't experienced this coming in already, I feel like that energy is on its way. And as I sometimes caveat, like I can't predict what a real person will do, right? But this energy is on its way, whether it manifests as an energy or as like an actual person who is coming into your life or maybe has come into your life recently, right? I feel like this is what the universe is inviting you to work through, because these are kind of like your blocks to just opening your heart. I'm seeing like a lotus flower blossoming, like that, your heart just blossoming and opening to your dreams come true. That's literally all this girl has to do, is kind of turn her head and be like, oh my God, those are my dreams, right? And being able to kind of trust that. And I feel like that difficulty with trusting and even this hesitation. So both of these cards to me are relating to this Three of Swords. That Three of Swords is kind of like the crux, is just hanging on to those past betrayals, those past heartbreaks, those past relationship wounds, the places that you've been hurt, right? It's kind of what's keeping that lotus blossom of your heart closed instead of being able to surrender and feel safe. Yeah, this is beautiful. This is really beautiful. I'm feeling like, so for the Three of Cups, it really just feels like safe companionship. I'm feeling that safety aspect again. I really feel that from this King of Pentacles. I feel like it's just the universe saying again that this is such a safe and sweet connection. And there may be like other relationships or connections, like friendships or even family relationships that you have that are sort of reinforcing this. So I wonder, for some of you, this could be like a friend of a friend, or like even someone within your own friendship group where you really have already like a stable knowing of this person, right? And a stable idea of like them as a safe and kind person. Yeah, it feels like kind of benevolent outside forces sort of helping to like support you in going through this and kind of letting in this connection, right? It might be like friends and family members even saying like, hey, I can vouch for this person, right? They're a pretty solid person. And the Magician to me feels like this is the result of you doing inner work. I always just feel that with the Magician to me is like the master manifester, which is interesting because I had said that about the King of Pentacles too, right? Like he is a master manifester. He has created his like dreams come true, his perfect life. He's created that on the earth. That's the point of the suit of the Pentacles, right? But the Magician is saying like, you did this, you called this in. And I feel like there's a surrender here to like trusting that your work, like your inner work and your efforts are safe and that they're real. It almost feels like a feeling of like, this is too good to be true, or like having a hard time believing that it's really this good. But I feel like if you're in this collective and this is resonating, the universe is saying, yes, it is really this good. And it's because of you. I'm really drawn to the infinity symbol. which not only brings to mind twin flames for me, but also the, I just lost the word, the strength card, right? And the strength card is all about kind of taming, like any negative self-beliefs, right? It's about taming the ego and kind of taking power away from the ego just through gentleness and through love, and through like self-awareness and self-discipline. So I do feel very much that you have done like a lot of work in order to call in this beautiful connection. So I feel like if you're in this collective, this will probably make sense to you, and you probably have some sort of system of like working through those blocks and upsets from those past relationships. I know I've talked about this. For me, it's just a matter of bringing love to those places. Yeah. I think that will feel very good and will help you kind of open up. Like, I'm feeling really called to say the connections and experiences that you had in the past that were, I mean, like, look how different these cards are. The experiences and connections that you had in the past that kind of have caused this betrayal, this heartache, this deep sadness, right? This agony. Look how different, look how different these cards are, right? This has nothing to do with this human who is showing up in such a different vibe. You know, in every relationship, there's things to work through. But I feel like this person has like a great kindness and benevolence. It feels like that Santa Claus energy to me that I sometimes get from him. Just that sweetness and that generosity and that like pureness of heart, you know, that's really sweet. Yeah, I feel like it's safe for you. You may be someone who's used to kind of being disempowered in relationships, but with the Magician, this is all about you being in your personal power and being a manifester, right? Being able to kind of take those steps or have the discipline to practice and actually create the things that you want, create the life that you want. So I feel like part of this too is kind of about surrendering to your own power, your own magnificence, your own kind of divinity, and your calling as a creator of your reality, right? And being able to acknowledge that these wishes, these dreams come true, this person coming in, like it's real. I feel like you can pinch yourself and it will hurt. And then you can go, okay, this is real, you know? I'm kind of getting that feeling. Like an acceptance and a surrender to allowing the universe to be good to you, right? And to your own power. So let's go over to the advice side. What do the folks in this collective need to know? I feel like that guy wants to come out. Death and the Emperor. Yeah, this for me. So again, this is a masculine in the card. It's irrelevant, right? It's just the gender in the card. So take it as it resonates. I'm probably going to refer to it as a masculine just out of habit, but I feel like this is the death and the rebirth of everything that you've ever thought about the divine masculine. So if you're kind of in this vibe, right, the divine masculine would be like hurtful and, you know, break your heart and unavailable or maybe even like abusive, right? And again, if you're masculine, take it as the feminine, right? That the feminine would be the heartbreaker and the one not showing up and not being available. I feel like either way, it's all about just completely allowing like all of the old notions that you had, all of those old patterns, the belief systems, about kind of partnership, right? And romantic love, just completely allowing them to die and be reborn. That's like a really powerful energy. And again, I'm feeling that power, that empowerment from the Magician card. I'm feeling that in the Emperor as well, that like, he's so self-possessed. Like he's an emperor, right? Like this dude like rules everything, right? Like he's the commander of everything, of his life, of everything around him. I'm really feeling that, like you kind of in your power, being able to work through, you know, and release like whatever toxic beliefs and patterns you have here that are preventing you from letting this sweetness in. It's so beautiful. I love the death card in this. I'm sorry. I'm distracted by this energy. I'm especially attracted today to this like beautiful star portal, right? Like this is one of those things where I'm just feeling this as a completely life-changing experience for you. Like completely life-changing. It's like going through a portal to like a parallel reality where all of a sudden everything is like beautiful and wonderful and good, and you're kind of like, whoa, like where did this come from, right? And just sort of accepting that and letting it sink in that like, yes, life is really this good, right? And I literally have never noticed this before in this card. There's like this shadow above the head here that kind of looks like a fish. Like I have no idea what it's actually supposed to be, but I almost see like a fin that would be kind of like cut off by the card, and then like the little tail here. This is like very interesting to me. I've never noticed that before. All that's coming to mind is like, I don't know, like the abundance of like fish, like being able to go fishing in a river and like sustain yourself, right? And like kind of how easy that is, and the fish going with the flow. And I don't know, I feel like there's like a flow of like the cycles of life, like nourishment and life and death, and kind of fishing and eating the fish. And I don't know, that feels really powerful to me. You're in a flow right now, whoever you are in this collective. It's really lovely. I'm feeling called to say like, man, just go with it. Like if you just kind of float along the river of life right now and let the universe take you to where it wants to take you. I feel like that's the advice here. And again, you know, do what you want with that, but that's definitely the energy in the cards. That's really interesting. I just keep seeing this image of like fish on a river and like someone going fishing. I almost feel called to say like, I was having this feeling as I was talking, like fishing is kind of easy, right? I mean, you have to be patient, but at the end of the day, the fish comes to you, right? The fish kind of bites. And as long as you don't freak out and like reel it in really fast, you kind of just go slow and be patient, and you inevitably get the fish, right? As long as kind of everything goes right. And that's what this feels like to me. It feels like there's an ease here, and there's like a patience here, and really that it's just about surrender. It's just about releasing and surrendering whatever these like kind of, you know, these past hurts, right? These past relationship wounds. I don't know. It feels like to me like this King of Pentacles energy, it feels like your person coming in, right? And really just once and for all, just like one last time, kind of like releasing anything that you're still hanging on to that was like toxic or sad from past relationships. And what I just heard in my inner voice was like, let this person show you. Let this person show you what real love is. Let them show you what like trust is, right? And true partnership and true power, and like how to wield that in such like a sweet, responsible, innocent way, you know, just for like pleasure and joy and peace and happiness and comfort. This is really beautiful. Ten of Swords and the Moon. Yeah, this is deep. So the Ten of Swords is the sort of like painful ending, right? And the swords representing the mind, right? And for me, often representing kind of like that ego mind, especially the, I guess, like the more negatively aspected swords cards, which you in the typical tarot, the Ten of Swords is. This one's so beautiful. It's like these birds kind of releasing away from her, right? And I love like her dress and her hair moving in the breeze, just sort of symbolizing like her freedom, like a fresh new start and, you know, at the sunrise or whatever. But in this one, it feels like that. It feels like releasing again, like any of those places within your psyche where kind of holding on to any sadness, any betrayal. The Ten of Swords especially speaks of betrayal to me. So that in combination with the Three of Swords, if you're in this collective and that resonates, like anywhere that you have felt very betrayed in a past relationship feels like that would be like a really good place to kind of dive into, right? I'm feeling called to say too, like if this is very difficult for you, like reach out to a therapist or something. I feel like sometimes it's easier to work through things when we have somebody to kind of go through that with us, right? So that might be really helpful for you in terms of kind of healing and releasing these places. But yeah, like deep diving into anywhere that you have felt betrayed. The moon for me is just resonating with like the depths of the psyche, right? So that these are just kind of places within you that maybe are difficult. And, you know, you're not going to sit down to breakfast on a Sunday morning and be like, I'm going to think about the time that so-and-so like massively betrayed me, right? Like it's sort of the places where the shadow places, the places that really hurt and that maybe we don't really visit or are hesitant to visit. It feels deep. This is deep, deep healing, especially with this side is what's coming in, right? Over here, we mostly have minor arcana cards, which means that it's kind of littler things that are more within your like control. Over here, I'm feeling like these are very powerful major arcana cards, 3 out of the 4 of them, which is more energy that the universe is bringing to you. And I really feel like you're being so called to just do this, right? I kind of feel like that, like, just do it. Like, now is the time, right? Now is the time to kind of dive into this, because in order to let in this beautiful sweetness of like your real ultimate connection, right? Whether it's your twin flame, your soulmate, your life partner, like however you conceive of it. For me, it's twin flames, especially with this red thread analogy. In order to let that sweetness in and really receive it, it's time to work through this stuff, right? I'm feeling called to share, like my friend had shared this with me at one point, that I think it was something that she had watched on Instagram, and I'm sorry, I can't quote whoever it was who posted it, but I had heard about it secondhand. She said that even if like the perfect person comes in, the most gentle, the most patient, the most kind, the most healthy, the most loving person, if you have like this kind of baggage from the past, right? I think in the video in particular, it was trauma, but it's even resonating here. If you're kind of operating from that place of heartbreak, of suspicion, of protecting yourself, even like the most kind, loving person won't be able to connect with you. You guys will be like, I don't know, like I keep seeing like celestial bodies in the way that their gravity would affect each other, but that you'd be like kind of shooting off in different directions, right? Like you can't come together because there's no opening. There's no kind of surrendering to like actually being able to receive that love. If you're like the lotus blossom that's kind of constantly in that bud state, no one can get in there, right? It's like all closed up and defensive because you're kind of stuck in this energy of like, well, I'm going to be hurt and I'm going to be betrayed and I can't move forward and I can't look at this because it's too good to be true. No one can get in there, no matter how patient and kind they are. At some point, they're going to have to say, you know what, I deserve to be loved, right? But you deserve to be loved. And I feel like that's why the universe is really pointing this out to you, because this healing is so important in being able to surrender, like that opening flower, right? And kind of letting this in is really beautiful. 7 of Wands. Yeah, I feel like that's speaking to the defensiveness that I just talked about, right? She's kind of in her protective bubble. And there's these wands out here all trying to like kind of attack her or like jab at her. And she's kind of in her bubble, in her little vibe. Often I will see that as like a positive thing where she's really like setting boundaries and kind of glowing kind of within her own bubble. But I feel right now it's almost like, again, almost like it's reversed or like a bit negatively aspected, where this would be you kind of overly defensive, looking away from the love, even though like with this little shining star in here, like she wants to be loved so much. She is calling in this love. She's a magician, right? She's manifesting this love. So it's like, it's here, it showed up, or it's about to, right? At least the energy. And again, I don't know if a specific person will show up, but this energy is coming into your life of this sweet, safe love. And it's like you went out of your way. You did all this work to call it in, but then it's like here and you're not open to receiving it. So again, I feel like just be brave, right? Like dive into that moon energy. Dive into the depths of the places where it's been hurt, and like, yeah, some uncomfortable stuff might come up and you might end up, you know, laying on your bed bawling for like an hour or two, right? Like just kind of processing everything. Do the things that work for you, right? You can journal, you can exercise, punch a pillow, like just cry, call a friend, like whatever you need to do. I do feel like there are some energies here who want to give you some really sweet support around healing this. Which again, like maybe it's a friend, maybe it's a therapist, maybe it's just you like calling on angels or spirits or whatever you believe in and saying like, just be here with me and help me release this sorrow. Yeah. If you're in this collective, I just feel like that King of Pentacles energy feels so safe. It's like, I want to emphasize, like, it's totally worth it. Whatever crying and processing you need to do is so worth it to let that energy in. That's like a really beautiful union. This is weird. I feel called to pull one more Light Seer card. It's not one more. It's like a whole bunch. Oh, that's funny. When I was shuffling earlier, I'm going to leave that. The Knight of Cups wanted to show. Can you even see them? They're like hanging off the table. Right. Let me see if I can rearrange this and cover them up a little bit. So that Four of Swords is, it's a resting energy, right? It's kind of like I was saying, and even the heart, like, do you see how, okay. So this was what we were talking about, that betrayal, that heartache, that agony. This heart is kind of sewn up and it's just this one pretty thread. I feel like this is you kind of going through releasing that heartache and kind of putting your heart back together, right? It's kind of like stitched back together. Just taking that time to rest, relax, process, like give that to yourself. It's okay, even if it feels a little spiky or uncomfortable. She's in a bird's nest. I don't know if you guys can notice that. She's like kind of tucked into the hollow of a little bird's nest. Like there's a safety here, that it's safe for you to go through that. Just kind of, I see you like kind of cuddled up with yourself, right? You know, kind of curled up into a ball, just hugging yourself and feeling your feelings. The Knight of Cups shows that sweetness wanting to come in, and the Knight of Wands is showing me that it's passionate and it wants to come in quickly. The Knights are cards of movement, right? And that it's still developing. So whereas like the King of the Suits are kind of the most actualized, right? Like the most developed, the most mature energy, the Knights are still getting there. They're kind of like the teenagers of the tarot, right? But that energy is developing, that it like wants to come in. I feel like your life is like calling for some movement here. So instead of this like stagnation or this hesitation, like this Three of Wands, that hesitation energy that I was getting, this is speaking to me about forward movement. And then the Star and the Four of Wands, like no wonder why I felt like there was another pull here. This speaks so much to me of wishes come true. And that's exactly what I was talking about with these rainbows. Like the universe wants to bring you your wishes come true, but you have to be open to receiving them. Because again, if you're like that in a lotus flower in a big closed up bud, right? There's like nowhere for the wishes to go. But if you're surrendered and open, oh, the wishes, there's like lots of places to receive the wishes come true, right? But the Star and the Four of Wands is like joyful surprises. It's celebration. It's true love. In the traditional tarot, it's the twin flame card because there's the kind of the four wands around the structure creates like an 11-11. The Star speaks to me of that healing. So when you kind of move through this healing process, and the Star can be a little slow. So I do feel like this is a process. It's not like an instant, like immediate, like you're like, okay, I choose to release it. And then all of a sudden everything's fine. Like you can make the choice to release it. And that's a very powerful choice, but you also kind of have to move through the process of releasing that. Right. But it's like inevitable. It's like, if you are making the choice to go to these places and heal them, the healing will happen. And I feel like the Star and the Four of Wands is talking about that. Just like your wish come true, your dreams come true, like do that healing and be able to let in and receive all of the good. It's like really beautiful. Yeah. Okay. So we have I think it's the new moon, tomorrow or in a couple days. Sorry, I don't on my list here. I don't know exactly when it's happening. So I picked the Moonology deck. It says a time for healing. Balsamic moon. That's interesting. I never heard of that. But yeah, I was literally just talking about it's time for healing. That's what the Four of Swords card is saying. A new start is coming. New moon. So, all right. Now I feel like I have to get my paper. Hang on. The new moon is on the 30th. New moon in Capricorn. So in a couple of days, right? 3 days. Yeah, it's awesome. So maybe that while you're on break for holiday, maybe you go through some of this healing for the next few days, and maybe you have some breakthroughs around the time of the new moon. I feel like that's resonating. Work through your fears. New moon in Scorpio. Okay, that resonates so much off of this moon card, because the moon card can often be like those fears of kind of going within. Like I had said earlier, it's like you have to be brave. And I even mentioned the strength card. I'm kind of surprised that it didn't come out. I really feel that. I even mentioned the strength card, right? And in the traditional tarot, the woman in the strength card is like petting the lion, right? And the lion's got its mouth all open or whatever. It's like, but she's so brave. She's so brave around kind of taming what seems like this beast of the ego. But it has so much love and so much gentleness that like the lion has no choice but to sort of submit to her. But again, this may be places where you do feel afraid. Like I said, it's not the energy that you move into when you're chilling with like a Sunday breakfast or whatever. Like it's a lot. This is deep. This is really deep. Being afraid of being in this agony again of getting your heart broken. That's no joke. I'm feeling called again. Like if you have friends or family members or a therapist, if any of that resonates for you, just make sure that you're calling in support if you need it, right? A time to take action. That's interesting. I feel like that's resonating for me off the Emperor card. With even the colors are kind of similar. That's funny. And then he has like this sort of ram's head. I think the Emperor is Aries, is associated with Aries. I could be wrong on that though. But yeah, it's time to take action. I feel like it's time to take action to heal and release these patterns. I really feel like if you're in this collective, the universe is very much calling you to do that, because it's sending you this energy and you won't even be able to receive this gift if you're still operating from these fears and these heartbreaks and these wounds. Wow, that's a really powerful reading. I hope that this resonated and was helpful, and I hope to see you guys in my next reading. Bye.